Xiao Yan leaves the Jiama Empire, saying farewell to his brothers and everyone else. Unfortunately, the wedding of Xiao Yan and Kai Lin was not shown, and throughout the series it was never once mentioned who Xiao truly was in relation to Xiao Yan. It seems that the creators had no choice. Either they had to leave Xiao in the story without ever mentioning the relationship between the Snake Queen Kai Lin and Xiao Yan, or remove the girl completely. But we, who know the original novel, will always regard Xiao as the daughter of Xiao Yan and Kai Lin. Arriving at the Falling Star Pavilion, Xiao Yan introduced the girl to his teacher. It was amusing to see how Xiao acknowledged Yao Lao as her master. He examined the girl and noticed her extraordinary talent in alchemy. And yet, once again, Xiao did not say a single word. As shown in the trailer for episode 163, the events of the ancient wasteland are about to begin. With the blessing of his teacher Yao Lao, Xiao Yan, together with Xiao Yixian, Qing Lin, and the Queen Medusa Kai Lin, set out on this dangerous journey in search of the treasures of the ancient Bodhi tree. This was extremely important for breaking through to the level of Saint Do Sheng. In addition, Yao Lao gave Xiao Yan a spatial jade slip. If it were crushed, the teacher would immediately rush to his aid. Also, according to the original, there was an elder of the pavilion with them, who possessed the strength of a high-tier Do Zun. The Honorable Yao Tianhua had still not emerged from his seclusion. Kai Lin and Xiao Yixian had both reached the level of an 8-star Do Zun. By combining their powers, they were able to contend with a high-tier Do Zun. Possessing the triple pupils of the Flower Serpent, Qing Lin could command extremely powerful forces. Moreover, she was able to control the serpent forms of magical beasts, which made her presence highly important. Xiao Yan, too, was well prepared. An important factor was the Bodhisattva seed he had obtained from the saliva of the Bodhi body transformation. The region of the ancient wasteland was a perilous place, ruled by ferocious beasts. First, Xiao Yan and his companions arrived in Desert City, considered the last human settlement on the border with the ancient desert region. The gathered information was frightening. Every group that dared to enter the ancient desert region had perished. Among them were even mighty experts at the level of 9-star Do Zuns. This news made Xiao Yixian and Qing Lin hesitate, wondering whether the danger was simply too great. But retreat was impossible. Xiao Yan proposed a plan. Wait until stronger experts arrived in the city, then follow them together with a larger group. Since this region was regarded as forbidden land for humans, danger awaited at every step. The only choice was to stay close to others and observe carefully, making sure not to commit even the smallest mistake. After all, even the slightest carelessness could mean the death of the entire group. The next day, a massive crowd gathered outside the walls of Desert City. Before them stretched a dark, ancient forest. Xiao Yan understood that most of these people were driven by greed, and that even the strongest could die in such a forbidden land. When the crowd finally surged forward, the ground trembled under thousands of feet. Xiao Yan only shook his head. They would enter later, once the first brave souls had already gone inside. Half an hour later, they followed into the forest. But the moment they crossed the boundary, the air became filled with the stench of decay. Xiao Yixian noticed a poisonous mist. The truth was far worse. It was not merely poison, but tiny venomous worms, so small that they were invisible. People ahead were already dying from them, even those who had reached the level of Do Zun. Xiao Yan unleashed his heavenly flame, burning the parasites from his own body and shielding his companions. As the fire blazed above his head, the mist retreated, creating a protective circle around their group. He realized that this obstacle alone would already wipe out most of the expedition. But for him and his companions, this was only the first step. Deeper inside the forest awaited far more terrifying trials, not only from savage beasts, but also from hostile factions. Xiao Yan's group pushed further into the ancient desert region. The poisonous fog gradually thinned, and soon they emerged from it. Before them rose a vast mountain range. The air was filled with ancient energy, and within the mountains they could sense the auras of ferocious beasts. To determine the location of the ancient Bodhi tree, Xiao Yan brought out the Bodhisattva seed. It only indicated an approximate direction, northwest. Thus, the group set out that way. But as soon as they crossed a gorge, they were attacked by beasts resembling leopards. Xiao Yan quickly killed them, but realized that flying here was too dangerous. It would too easily draw the attention of powerful predators. They had no choice but to travel on foot. Along the way, they encountered other experts who had also managed to pass through the poisonous mist. But Xiao Yan did not engage with them. In such conditions, no one could truly be an ally. Everyone was here for one thing: the Bodhisattva heart. Soon Elder Qing Chen of the pavilion, who had been sent ahead to scout, returned with news. He had spotted a group from the Spiritual Sky faction. These people had once tried to kill Xiao Yan, and he still had unsettled scores with them. Moreover, the elder overheard that they were planning to attack another group, the Flower faction. This news immediately changed Xiao Yan's expression. For within the Flower faction could be Yun. He could not allow the Spiritual Sky faction to harm her. Now their goal became clear: destroy the Spiritual Sky faction. The Flower faction, too, could not miss the chance to obtain the Bodhisattva treasure. They were led by their head, Yun. She had already reached the level of an 8-star Do Zun, and behind her appeared the glowing halo of the Do Zun circle. Unfortunately, they faced an ambush from the enemies, namely the Spiritual Sky faction. Yun, together with Nalan Yenran, was fleeing at great speed from formidable pursuers. The people of the Spiritual Sky faction launched a vile attack while they were distracted by ferocious beasts, which led to the death of Elder Qinghua. At this moment, Yun, at 8 stars, was the strongest among them. But the enemy had 2 experts at the level of 9-star Do Zuns. The situation was dire. Yun was already prepared to sacrifice her life to hold back the enemies, so that Nalan Yenran and the others could escape. As head of the faction, she took all responsibility upon herself. But just then, around 10 people surrounded them, cutting off every path of retreat. Among them, shockingly, was Yao Hualingjun, who had once tried to kill Xiao Yan. Lu Tsong, deputy head of the Spiritual Sky faction, gave the order to kill everyone except Yun and Nalan Yenran. The Flower faction experts unleashed their Do Qi and charged into battle. Yun defended herself as well, releasing mighty Do Qi that struck a Spiritual Sky expert, forcing him to spit blood. But 2 more attacked her, forcing her into a desperate fight. Then a treacherous strike from another enemy made Yun vomit blood, and she was slammed hard against a rock wall. Yun clenched her teeth, awaiting her fate. She gathered all her strength to meet the next blow, but suddenly, the wind descended from the sky along with a blazing golden light. Before her landed a colossal figure, who swung his fist and instantly struck down Yao Hualingjun. The terrifying force reduced the shocked man into nothing but a bloody mess. Shock lit up the faces of the Spiritual Sky faction experts as they witnessed this. Horrified, they stared at the golden giant and quickly retreated. Dogs of the Spiritual Sky faction are capable only of despicable acts, roared the voice of the golden Xiao Yan. We already mentioned in the previous video the glass body of the giant technique. Here it was in action. The golden giant appeared suddenly. Lu Tsong, deputy head of the Spiritual Sky faction, seeing Yao Hualingjun torn apart, unleashed his most powerful technique, the Dragon Fist of Infernal Might, forming a colossal black dragon of Do Qi that charged forward with a furious roar. But the giant, without using any complex technique, merely clenched his fist and struck directly at the dragon. Space itself cracked, the black creation shattered, and the residual force knocked Lu Tsong off his feet, throwing him far away. The power of the giant clearly corresponded to the level of a 9-star Do Zun of the 2nd stage, which was above Lu Tsong's strength. Enraged, he ordered everyone to attack together. 10 Do Zuns, including the elders, launched their techniques at once. But the golden giant, like a living metal statue, strode forward, tearing space apart with his strikes. All the techniques were destroyed, and the Spiritual Sky fighters, except for Lu Tsong and an old man in a bamboo hat, fell to the ground, coughing blood and losing consciousness. Lu Tsong panicked and tried to flee, but failed. A terrifying force tore through his body, reducing even his organs and bones to dust. The golden giant then stood before Yun and the shocked elders of the Flower faction, having slain Lu Tsong with a single strike. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and goodbye everyone.